to be really good in any software discipline, it's good to have an appreciation for everything. So yes, study to be a product manager, study to be a software engineer, but look into the other areas of it. What
Another question I'd like to cover is reflecting on your career. What's one mistake that ended up being a major learning experience for you, and how did that experience shape your approach today?
Oh, that's a very good question. Um, I've made lots of mistakes. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, I think I learned very early on the importance of taking your time with things. I think in the early days, I definitely wanted to prove myself, and I definitely thought that going faster and just churning out features and functionality was the way forwards. So I think I've had one too many kind of late night things have gone wrong calls. But yeah, primarily it's around taking your time and also knowing when that it's okay to say that it's okay to roll back changes and accept that this is not the right time to do it. So I've had examples previously where we've been doing a release and everyone's tired, it's late night, and then mistakes are made. Whereas actually, what we should have done in that situation was say, it's not for today. Let's park this. Let's all go and get some rest. We've been working on this all day. Let's pick it up again tomorrow. Whereas at the time, I was very adamant that we'd agreed to do this for a customer. We don't want to let them down. We'll just plow through. And that actually led to more issues down the line because we'd made mistakes because everyone was tired, everyone was stressed. People start getting burnt out in that scenario as well. So now I've been a lot more cautious around kind of that kind of just plow on no matter what mentality. And it's take a step back, think about it. Is it really the end of the world if a customer doesn't get it at midnight, but they do get it at 10 a.m. the next day? Probably not in the grand scheme of things. But a customer will be annoyed if all of a sudden there's loads of bugs in their app because you've decided to push through and kind of skip processes just to get it in customer hands.
It's interesting. Yeah, no, I can totally see where you're coming from. Going back throughout your career, or I guess we didn't really cover at the start, your like how did you get into software engineering? Did you come out of university, college, the traditional route, or was it a late start?
Not at all. Yeah, no, I didn't go the university route, which is rare for software engineering. Harking back to what I was saying around the ways you learn, I don't learn very well in a classroom environment. So I was lucky enough to get an apprenticeship with the Department for Transport, an organization called VOSA at the time. I think they've changed the name now. They're now the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency, but they were doing MOTs and kind of truck assessments, and they started this apprenticeship scheme. And I got an apprenticeship there for 3 years with as in software engineering. And for me, that was a great start to my career because I was able to get stuck in. There was lots of different projects going on. I learned how to write code. But not only did I learn how to code there, I spent time with their infrastructure team. I spent time with their product team. I spent time with their business and data analysts. So I got a really rounded education in software. Although I primarily love writing code now, I think I have a lot more respect for other areas of engineering and IT and product and all everything that comes together to make a feature or an app or a product at the end of the day. It's lots of different teams with lots of different inputs, and I understand where they're all coming from. So yeah, that was how I started, and I worked for them for another 5 years afterwards in their software engineering team after I passed my apprenticeship, and then I decided to leave public sector to try something new, and I ended up kind of working for startups after that point.
Good. So, based on that, what advice would you give to a young engineer or maybe a junior engineer who may be having a career switch, I guess, mid-career? What advice would you give them to focus on if they were looking to start off?
My advice would be don't silo yourself early on. It's very, very easy in our industry when you read about career paths and take product, for example. You want to get involved in product, and then you read this is the career path for a product manager, and product manager is the title that I'm aiming for. When actually, I think to be really good in any software discipline, it's good to have an appreciation for everything. So, yes, study to be a product manager, study to be a software engineer, but look into the other areas of it. What skills does a scrum master need versus a product manager? What skills does a software engineer need versus a data scientist? And those skills, having a holistic approach and appreciation for other specialisms and other areas, you don't have to be an expert in it, but appreciating it is a great step towards going from a junior to a mid-level to a senior, and kind of understanding the whole business approach, not just your specific silo. Same thing within engineering itself. Don't just pigeonhole yourself as a front end engineer. Don't pigeon yourself as a full stack. Understand what's required from everybody. Understand what the DevOps person's doing. Understand what the backend person's doing. Understand what your boss is doing, and how is that different. And I think for me, that was the approach I had when I first started out. Was really wanting to learn everything. I think it's benefited me really well, and I would recommend that to anyone kind of just starting out their career.
Last question I want to put to you and him is, and because of the industry you're working in currently, your role is, what technologies do you think will make the biggest impact in the next couple of years?
Well, I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say generative AI is definitely going to make an impact. I think we can already see the impact that it's making. Um, I still think it's got a long, long way to go. Um, but yeah, I think that's the future, is using these large models, large language models, and generative AI models to create things. I'm obviously biased because we want to do tech for good. I think more will kind of come out of that. I think there are lots of processes in life that we've just kind of worked around, and that this technology has the ability to kind of help enhance that and really make the world a bit more equal. I think from a tech point of view as well, I think we see kind of lots of trends now between software engineering and product teams coming closer together. I think that's only going to grow. You want that really close working relationship. But also I think more of like there's definitely a trend now to software engineering teams being enablers rather and kind of cross the whole business. I think we're moving away from the days where you have your kind of engineers in the basement of the office and they just kind of churn out code and no one really knows what they're doing. It's moving more to a collaborative thing now, especially if we've got big companies doing their kind of um, what's the term? It's the kind of IT modernization programs, and moving more to cloud technologies. It's really becoming everyone's responsibility, not just the responsibility of the IT director or CTO. Software is in our life to stay, and I think it's kind of definitely moving that way, especially in larger organizations.
Great. No, good to hear. Thank you very much for the topics covered today. Thank you.
No worries.